All right, what's up, Kipsters? Day 132. Today we're starting with ELA, so let's get going. All right, we're going to make sure that we have our first name, our last name, and our homeroom is circled. Make sure you circle spell house. Today's aim is to identify alliteration and onomatopoeia in a poem. Now, we definitely know what a poem is. We don't actually know what alliteration is or onomatopoeia, but we're going to get to that. But for now, we're going to do our PDN, so press pause. Okay, guys, welcome back. We're going to read the silly line of poetry to figure out what type of figurative language it is. Number 1 says, Karen got braces and her mouth is a huge metal factory. Now, the options that we have are hyperbole and simile. So what we're going to do is go up to our reminder and see that a hyperbole is an exaggeration and a simile is a comparison with like or as. Now, as I read the sentence again, we're going to see if we can see any keywords to help us figure it out. Karen got braces and her mouth is a huge metal factory. I don't hear any keywords for a simile, so we're going to make sure that we answer A, hyperbole. Number 2, the tree dances back and forth in the wind. Now, a hyperbole is an exaggeration. I remember that from number 1. But a personification is human qualities to an object. The tree danced back and forth in the wind. Now, when I think of the word danced, I think of something that a human would do. So definitely our answer was personification. Number 3. Made a mistake. Let's take it back. The student at Kip Bloom are all brains. The students at Kip Bloom are all brains. So we know that personification has to do with an object having human qualities, but Kip students are humans. So we know that this is an exaggeration because how can somebody be all brains? You got to have legs, you got to have feet, all those different kinds of body parts. Number 4. Miss Jones is as tall as a giraffe. Ooh, I hear a keyword, and that is the word as. I'm going to make sure I go in and I make that difference because it sticks out. And since we have the word as, we know that it is a simile, and we're going to highlight that answer. Number 5, my best friend is my knight in shining armor. My best friend is my knight in shining armor. B, our option is simile. D, our option is metaphor. I don't remember seeing any words that say like or as, so I know my answer is D, metaphor. Now, number 6, the delicious smell of cookies pulled me to the kitchen. The smell pulled me to the kitchen. I think that's a personification because only a human can pull you. So, gonna make it personification. A smell can't actually pull you. 7, Miss Rowe is as strong as a bull. I see as 2 different times in that statement. So I know that it is a simile. Number 8, Pokemon cards are the absolute best thing in the entire universe. Sounds like an exaggeration to me. Which one is an exaggeration? We're going to go back up to the top. Exaggeration. Hyperbole. So our answer is A, hyperbole. Let's flip the page. Now, as you recall, yesterday we started with word work, and for vocabulary word work, we will be working on prefixes, suffixes, and root words. A prefix is an affix placed at the beginning of another word. Make sure you plug that in. Root word. A word that does not have a prefix or suffix. Okay, I'm back. Did you hear my dog barking? I had to let him out. Okay, so today for vocabulary, we are working with re, which is the prefix, and appear, and that is the root word. Now, re means again, and appear means to come into sight. Now, when we mash those two words together, reappear becomes a new word, and it is defined as to come into sight again. Now, if we were looking for a synonym, it would mean to appear again, or to come back. Now, an antonym would be to disappear. Let me spell that right. The sentence that I'm going to write is as follows. You can write your own sentence, including the word reappear. The rain reappeared as I drove down the street. Let me fix this up. Now our vocabulary word was reappear. And I'm going to make sure that I underline it. And you can create your own sentence. Now, if we go down and look at the illustration, it says explain. The rabbit appeared because. It came back. Flip the page. All right, board equals paper, board equals. We're working with figurative language again. Figurative language is when poets use blank to express their thoughts in a more blank way. Words to express their thoughts in a more fun way. There are 6 types of figurative language. So far, we've learned about similes, we've learned about metaphors, and today we're going to learn about 2 more figurative language devices. Now, today we're going to learn about alliteration. So repeat after me. Alliteration. All right. Alliteration is a phrase or string of words that all begin with the same sound. Now, this adds excitement to poetry. The words do not need to be in any kind of particular order. So, when we look at the examples, we have Wanda Witch's white wig whipped and wiggled in the wind. Then we have Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And last we have Sally's sundress swayed in the swirling wind. Our next figurative language device is onomatopoeia. Repeat after me. Onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia is a word that sound or mimics the sound they are describing. An onomatopoeia pulls the reader into the setting of the poem. All right, so the examples that we usually hear in poems are, hey, squish, and even in some rap songs we hear skirt. So those are all onomatopoeias. When we move on to the model, we have to remember that our aim is that we can identify figurative language, in particular alliteration and onomatopoeia. So just to give you guys a quick reminder, alliteration has the same sound throughout the line. An onomatopoeia is working with sounds that we hear in the world. Now, number 1 says, which of the following is an example of alliteration? The sun glistened, turning the lake into a pot of honey, or the sun shone on the smooth surface of the pond. Now, I'm hearing a lot of s throughout this line, so I can definitely say that this is alliteration. Moving right along to number 2, which of the following is alliteration? A, the slimy snake slithered slow sideways, or B, the snake was very slow in fact. Now, this one I got a little tongue-tied because I was saying all the way through. So I know that this is alliteration because the sound is consistent from the beginning of the sentence all the way to the end. Number 3, which of the following is an example of alliteration? B says, as the wind whispered in the treetops, the leaves whirled to the ground. D says, what is the name of the new band that Brianna and Yavanna enjoyed? Now, in B, I was saying wind, whispered, whirled. So I know that this is an example of alliteration. Number 4. Which of the following lines contains an onomatopoeia? Ooh, they tried to trip us up. Let's see. Which is an onomatopoeia? Onomatopoeias deal with sound, if we can remember. So, B says he's licking the ice. C says, and he lets out a roar. Sounds like a sound to me. So, I definitely have to choose C as our onomatopoeia. Number 5, which of these statements does not contain an onomatopoeia? A, the really red rose is beautiful. C, the bee was buzzing in my ear. I know that onomatopoeias make sound, so I can eliminate C, and my answer would be A, the really red rose is beautiful. Let's change that up. Number 7, boom, whack, boom, pow. These are examples of onomatopoeia. They make sounds, guys. We got to make sure we remember. Onomatopoeias mean sound. Number 8, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is an example of alliteration. That was definitely a tongue twister. Number 9, words like buzz, squeak, sneeze, drip, and ring are examples of onomatopoeias. They make sounds, guys. Guided practice time. The poem starts like this. The door went creak in the still of the night. The floor went bump. Oh, what a fright. The grandfather clock made a chime. We turned down a hallway and heard a loud crash. So many sounds surround the space. It seems that someone had dropped all the trash. For the sake of time offline, I went in and plugged all the answers. Number 1 says, what poetry elements are represented in the poem above? Choose 2. That is B, rhyme, C, rhythm. 2. How many lines and stanzas are in the poem? I went ahead and marked up the poem for you, so we know that it's B, 2 stanzas, 8 lines. Number 3, which line contains alliteration? That's C, line 7. So many sounds surround this place. Number 4, which sound device is used throughout the poem? That's B, onomatopoeia. There are so many sounds in this poem. Let's move on to independent practice.